Okay, this is the senior capstone video by Adam Shodosh. So I'm going to start off what this project represents. This project explores how psychology differs across generations. Each generation grew up in a different world. These worlds shaped how people think, feel, and behave. The goal is to understand these differences. The project focuses on baby boomers, Gen X, or Generation X, millennials, and Gen Z. Each group has unique traits, each group has unique stressors, each group has unique values. Understanding these patterns help explain conflict and communication problems. It also helps people understand themselves. So why generations matter? Generations matter because they shape identity, they shape coping, they shape communication, they shape mental health attitudes, they shape expectations for work and relationships. Many conflicts come from misunderstanding. These misunderstandings come from different emotional rules. These rules come from different environments. Studying generations helps reduce conflict, it helps build empathy, and it helps people connect. And our first slide is going to be about the baby boomers. The baby boomers grew up during stability and economic growth. They experienced strict parenting. They learned discipline and emotional control. They value loyalty and long-term commitment. They prefer face-to-face communication. They grew up with strong mental health stigma. They often hide emotional struggles. They rely on self-reliance. Major events shaped their worldview. They value hard work and perseverance. They believe emotions should be controlled. Another one we have is Gen X. Generation X grew up during rising divorce rates. Many were latchkey kids. They learned independence early. They value autonomy and direct communication. They are skeptical of institutions. They are more open to mental health treatment, but still private. They live through the shift from avoiding analog to digital. They are adaptable and flexible. Economic stability helped shape their views on work. They balance tradition and modern values. They often feel overlooked. Another one we have is millennials. Millennials grew up during rapid technological change. They experienced supportive parenting. They, to a degree, they were encouraged to express emotions. They value collaboration and inclusivity. They openly talk about mental health. They seek therapy more than older generations. They face major economic challenges. They entered adulthood during the Great Recession. They struggle with debt and job instability. Social media shaped their identity. They face pressure and comparison. They experience high anxiety during burnout. What I forgot to mention is that they experience this in the world of work, in the workforce. They experience high anxiety and burnout because of the rising costs of everything, such as basic necessities, yet the pay is not enough. Another one we have is Gen Z, which is my generation. Gen Z grew up fully online. They cannot remember life without smartphones. They communicate constantly. They are open about mental health. They normalize therapy and emotional honesty. They face stress from constant news and comparison. They value authenticity and diversity. They question traditional labels. They grew up with school shootings and climate anxiety. They feel overwhelmed but aware. They want change and fairness. Boomers use problem-focused coping. They hide emotions. Gen X mixes problem-focused and avoidant coping. They handle stress alone. Millennials use emotion-focused coping. They talk through feelings. Gen Z uses online communication for support. They face emotional overload. These differences create misunderstandings. Older generations see younger people as emotional. Younger generations see older people as distant. I personally believe it's true. A lot of my people, my family, are older generations, and I think they're kind of cold, but that's just my opinion. And coping differences. Boomers build identity around family and work. Gen X build identity around independence. Millennials build identity around self-expression. Gen Z builds identity around flexibility, diversity, and openness to change. They explore identity online. They challenge traditional labels. These patterns shape communications and relationships. They also shape mental health attitudes and identity differences. Technology shaped each generation differently. Boomers had limited technology. Gen X saw early computers. Millennials grew up with social media. Gen Z grew up fully digital. Technology affects attention, stress, and communication. It affects relationships. It affects identity. It affects emotional regulation. These differences create conflict and misunderstanding. And based on work and success, Boomers see work as duty. Gen Z see work as independence. Millennials want meaningful work. Gen Z wants stability and mental health support. Economic conditions shaped these views. Each generation faced different opportunities. Each faced different barriers. These differences shape motivation and stress. For mental health attitudes, Boomers avoid mental health talk. Gen Z is cautious. Millennials are open. Gen Z is extremely open. These attitudes come from cultural messages. They come from stigma. They come from technology. They come from stress levels. Understanding these differences help improve communication. The purpose of the project. The purpose is to understand why generations differ. It explains why they think differently. It explains why they feel differently. It explains why they communicate differently. It explains why they cope differently. Understanding these patterns reduces conflict. It builds empathy. It supports personal and academic growth. Finding happiness. This project supports the finding happiness goal. It helps students understand themselves. It helps them understand others. It reduces confusion. It reduces self-blame. It increases awareness. It increases connection. It opens new career paths. It encourages reflection and growth. Conclusion is that generational psychology explains real differences. These differences come from history, culture, technology, and economics. They shape identity, coping, communication, and mental health. Understanding these patterns help people connect. It helps people communicate. It helps people grow. It prepares the way for deeper research in the full capstone project. Okay, that is my project. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. Mahalo.